guess he does something. There he is. There's Scott. Yay! Welcome back.
He's there. He's here. We found him. We found him.
I'm here. I'm here.
Well,
I magically appeared.
Yeah, awesome. If you're just joining in, I'm Steve, a developer advocate at AWS for .NET and PowerShell. I'm joined by Farah on hosting duties today. Farah?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us today. All
right. And in this segment, we are joined by Scott Malky to talk to us about the new EC2 Mac 1 mini instances. Yes, you heard that right. So, Scott, please introduce yourself to everyone, and we'll dive in.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This is a really great program, and I'm so thrilled to be here. I try and catch it every Friday afternoon as I can. But yes, I'm Scott Malky. I am the senior product manager for EC2 Mac instances, and I am just thrilled to be here today talking to you all about our latest release, our M1 Mac instances.
Yeah, I'm glad that you repeated that, Mac M1 instances, right? It's like, I'm sure a lot of people watching this went, wait, what? Say what?
Yes.
So let's roll back a little bit, right? Because when people think about the cloud and machines running in the cloud, right, we tend to think first of Linux and Windows, right, running in the cloud. Mac maybe less so. So can you give some context around why did we start offering Mac instances in the cloud in the first place?
Sure, absolutely. And so, I will say that 90% of our roadmap is driven by customers, right? Here at AWS, we obsess over our customers. We're constantly talking to customers about all the good stuff we're doing, right? All the stuff that hopefully they like and use and are building successful businesses on top of. But as a product manager, what is often more interesting is the feedback of what we can do better, right? What's a pain point? What can we offer that would make their lives easier? So around 2018, we started to hear from a lot of customers. They really wanted to bring all of their CI/CD, their continuous integration, continuous deployment, continuous delivery, these automated build workloads up into AWS. And they had great success with their Linux side, like you mentioned, and great success with their Windows side. But there was always sort of this component that had to stay on premises, right? The Mac OS component. For those that don't know, every iOS app everywhere that you use has to go through a program called Xcode, which is made by Apple to get signed in order to get onto the App Store, so you can download it onto your phone. That process of signing and building and compiling and things like that through Xcode only runs on Mac OS. So to build an iOS app, you need a Mac OS device somewhere or access to it, right?
Yeah.
And so customers often had this bifurcated workload where they had this really great automated, monitored, secure, performant pipeline for Windows and Linux, Android and things of that nature, and then the care and feeding of this Mac infrastructure became really quite a pain point. And so, of course, they came to us and said, hey, can you do anything about that? Can you help us out? And so we talked to a lot of customers. We looked at the hardware and we said, yeah, I think we can do this. And a couple of years later at reInvent 2020, we announced our first EC2 Mac instance, which was based on the 2018 Mac Mini. And now, just about a month ago in July, we announced our second, which is based on the 2020 M1 Mac Mini, which is the first time Apple Silicon is available in the cloud. And we're super thrilled about it.
Yeah, I remember that actual launch video. Was it Dave Brown, VP, with his delivery of Mac?
Yes, rolling up the truck with the wall of Mac Minis, and I think that's an important point, right? Like, because one of the questions I get asked a lot is, are these Hackintoshes? Are these real Mac? And yes, they are actually
real physical Macs,
real physical Mac Minis. If you walked into an Apple store in 2018 and bought one off the shelf, you probably took one away from us, right? Because we are getting the same ones there. And same thing with the 2020 Mac Mini. So it's actual Apple hardware that we give you access to on EC2.
So quick question. So I know, Steve, I know EC2 is near and dear to your heart, but for the folks that maybe don't understand, maybe more the benefits, and I actually want to give a quick shout out to our interpreters today. I have no idea how they keep up with everything that we're saying with all the acronyms. So huge shout out to the interpreters. But for the folks who don't really, might not understand, what EC2 provides, and so could you talk a little bit about what are the benefits of offering Mac instances within EC2?
Absolutely. So when we talk to customers, one of their biggest pain points, sort of overall, is the ongoing management and maintenance and overhead of physical infrastructure. Right. And this is not just, this is sort of a little bit larger than Mac, but especially Mac, in that, you have power, you have heat, you have geographic redundancy, you have scalability, right? If you know that you have a peak amount of compute power that you need for a big event, right? Say like a Prime Day, for instance. Just pull one out of thin air.
Pull one out of thin air, yeah.
Right. In an on-premises world, you have to build out to that peak. You have to monitor, manage, and you have to have people, usually really good people, managing all of that. And so there's this move to AWS, to EC2, the Elastic Compute Cloud. That's what EC2 stands for. And really consume that compute much like you would think about electricity or water, right? Like I don't have to call and tell the water company that I'm going to fill up my bathtub, right? I can just turn the tub on and it fills up, right? I don't need to tell the power company that I'm going to power wash my house and plug in a pump or something, right? I just plug it in, turn it on, and it works. And at the end of the month, I get a bill. And so that's really sort of the overarching benefit of EC2 is, and there's lots of euphemisms for this. The one I like is crops, not houseplants, right?
Yes,
I'm a vegetarian.
I like that one better. Yes.
I don't, so, but yeah, so the idea of that these are sort of things that you can scale up, scale down, and take away that the term we like to use is undifferentiated heavy lifting, right? This idea that you're not going to put a press release out to your customers about your data centers, right? You're not going to say, "Hey, we opened up 2 more racks in our data centers," right? You're not going to, right? Here's my iOS notification that says, we freed up rack space, right? Like, no, like your customers don't care. Your customers care about the pace of your innovation, how quickly you're getting features out, all of that stuff. That's what your customers care about. So let AWS take all that sort of stuff that isn't delivering direct business value and take that from you so that you as the customer can focus on your customers.
So one thing I'm curious about with these Mac instances, especially the Mac ones, we'll come to the performance and all the benefits later on when we come to the demo, but are they managed the same way as like Windows and Linux instances? Does it look any different?
Absolutely. So one of the trickiest parts about EC2 Mac is that we are taking a piece of hardware that is really not designed for data center operation. There's no lights out management. There's no SNMP, right? It is a Mac Mini, the same that you would have on your desk, and putting it into an environment, a full data center style environment, and exposing it as an EC2 instance. So we work really hard to give you an EC2 experience. And so, yes, it is EC2.
Just looks the same.
Looks the same.
I'm accustomed to.
It shows up in the console. You can launch instances. You can stop instances. Your VPC networking works the same way. Your IAM profiles work the same way. There are some unique aspects to it, sort of above and beyond EC2, but the core of the EC2 functionality works exactly the same way. And really, that's been our biggest piece of feedback from customers, is that I already know if they are existing AWS customers, right? They say, I know the benefits of EC2. I got it. I don't have to learn something new and different just to get macOS. I can fold macOS easily into my Linux and Windows worlds, and they're thrilled about that.
Okay, so I got a challenge for you.
Sure.
Ooh.
Prove it. let's go launch an instance and show just what it's like.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
I've got my screen shared. Hey, look at that. There we are.
Hey.
Awesome.
Magic.
Maybe it's that Chime SDK we saw earlier, right? Multiple screens, multiple people. It's crazy. It's great. Anyway, so I mentioned some of the unique aspects about EC2 Mac, and one of the unique aspects is that EC2 Mac is all single tenant. What that means is that when you say, "Hey AWS, I want a Mac Mini," we give you the entire Mac Mini. Right, you have that entire Mac Mini for your use in your account. In EC2 terms, we call that allocating a dedicated host. So I'm gonna do that now. Let me get my cursor back over there. All right, so I'm gonna do that now. And so this is the equivalent of telling AWS, I'd like to start using a Mac Mini. So I'm going to we're going to call this AWS On Air, and we're doing this live, right? So
we are doing this live.
All right.
Is it? Yeah, I think it's live. Huh?
Yeah, I hope it is. I will actually. So we actually have two Mac instances now, right? So Mac 1 is the x86 one, the 2018 Mac Mini, and Mac 2 is the newer one, the M1, the 2020 Mac Mini. Yes. So the mnemonic I used to remember that is that Mac 1 is the 2018. So if you think about the third digit, right, 2018, and Mac 2 is the 2020, right, 2020. That also gives us another like 8 years to make Mac 3, which is great from a product perspective. So kidding.
We're not pronouncing anything.
No, yes, please. No. But that's an easy way to sort of remember, is this the 2018 Mac Mini or the 2020 Mac Mini, Mac 1, Mac 2, right? x86 M1. So I'm going to go ahead.
To be clear, before you go further on for viewers, right? There is still a role to play for the x86
absolutely
Mac instances, right? This is
absolutely
not a replacement in any way.
No, absolutely, and we have customers often using both. As Apple is transitioning from their x86 architecture to the ARM64 Apple Silicon M1 architecture, there are still a lot of programs that run on both. You can actually build for either architecture on either architecture, so you don't necessarily need a M1 to build apps for iOS. You can do that on x86 as well, on either one. So there are some differences. They're in different regions because Mac 1 is in more regions because it was older. Bit older, right? So we've had more time to land more racks, and then Mac 1 also has 32 gigs of RAM in it, whereas the Mac 2 has 16 gigs of RAM. And that's just the underlying Mac Minis. The most that Apple put in the 2020 Mac Mini was 16 gigs of RAM. So
let me interrupt.
Sure.
If I can interrupt real quick, we have a question. So how does EC2 Mac instances compare to Windows VDI? VDI besides OS version and on the physical form?
Sure, absolutely. So VDI in this case, I'm assuming it means virtual desktop infrastructure, right? Using it as a virtual desktop. So that is something that you can do for sure. We have wonderful third parties like Teradici that offer their PCOIP. I'll actually show, I don't want to steal my own thunder, but I will actually show here in a little bit how to get a Mac OS desktop up and running so you can see it. It's Mac OS. So I think that's probably to answer the question directly, the biggest difference is one's Windows, one's Mac. And there's also, I think, more specific infrastructure like our workspaces offering and things like that. If you're looking for that sort of traditional VDI infrastructure, EC2 Mac instances are really designed for that sort of automated build, test, sign, publish workflows. Again, once you've allocated it, you may use it how you see fit. But that's really sort of for our customers where we see that sweet spot.
Okay. All right. So let's continue with the challenge.
All right, the challenge to actually get it going.
He's not letting you off the hook.
I know. Gosh, I was hoping we just answer questions for 20 more minutes, and then I don't have to do it. No, it's fine. So again, I'm allocating a dedicated host. I'm saying, hey, AWS, give me a Mac, and so it's going to be a Mac 2. here are the specs. There are eight cores in it. Is 16 gigabytes of RAM. As I said, I'm just going to pick an AZ. I'm going to enable auto placement. What that means is that if I just do a run instances command on it, it'll pick from any auto enabled host, right? So because I'm launching these instances on top of a dedicated host, I can either, when I launch the instance, I can either explicitly say, I want this instance to land on this Mac, or I can just sort of say, hey, AWS, put it on any Mac that's available. Right. So that's auto placement. I'm going to go ahead and allocate it, and this should be pretty quick. All right, successfully allocated it. Hey, there we go. Now this is a bit of a two-step process if compared to other EC2 operations, if you're used to sort of Linux and Windows virtual machines, because another sort of unique aspect of EC2 Mac is that these are bare metal machines, and what this means is that there's no hypervisor involved. So what we're actually doing, and so the step we just did was saying, give me a Mac Mini. Here's your Mac Mini, right? Right now, it's turned off. Basically, you have a Mac Mini, but there's no instance running on it. You can actually see over here, there's no utilization, right? I don't have an instance running on it. So the next step is to launch an instance on top of that dedicated host.
All right.
And the mental model here is like taking a thumb drive and plugging it back into the Mac and then powering it on, and then telling macOS, hey, boot off my thumb drive. That's from a Mac perspective, that's actually almost exactly what we're doing, except that instead of USB, it's going over Thunderbolt, and instead of a thumb drive, it's actually our elastic block storage. So, 16 terabytes up to, 64K IOPS, right? Powerful, tons of software-defined storage on the back end. But
it's not somebody running up to the cage with a thumb drive and pressing a button.
Basically, one of the funniest things about EC2 Mac as an instance type is that on the sled itself, we actually have a solenoid, basically a robot finger, if you will, that literally presses and holds the power button down. That's how we turn them off and on. We press the power. So there's a command that gets sent, and it presses the power button to turn it on, and then it presses the power button to turn it off. So, it's not necessarily a person running up to a cage and plugging it in, but I mean, the pressing the button to turn it on is exactly how we're doing it.
It's thing, basically.
Right. It's the robot doing it instead of you doing it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead.
I just started imagining you having an iRobot that's now turned into a finger that can help you.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly where my mind went.
Just pressing all the buttons all the time.
That robot started then.
That's right. That's right. So now I'm going to go launch an instance on top of it. So I've got, so as you can see here, just to explain the screen that you're seeing, this is the dedicated host screen. This is the host that I just allocated that I don't have an instance running on. I do, in good demo fashion, have 4 other hosts I've already allocated and that I do have instances running on. So I'm going to go over to the instances screen. And again, this is the EC2 console. For those of you watching who are familiar with EC2, this should look really familiar and warm and fuzzy, right? This is sort of the EC2 console that you know and love. And so these are the 4 instances running on those 4 hosts. All right. I'm going to go ahead and launch a new instance onto the host I just allocated.
Robots, is that one? Don't trip and fall. Don't run with thumb drives. People.
That's right. That's right. I'm sure I'm going to go get an email from our AWS security team because I mentioned thumb drives in the context of our data centers, and that's a no-no.
I didn't hear you mention it.
Good, perfect.
I didn't either.
Not that we don't do that. It's a metaphor. It's a mental model. There's no thumb drives anywhere near any facilities. Anyway, AWS On Air instance, right? So this is so I'm actually launching an instance. I'm going to select Mac OS.
Okay.
And I'm going to use macOS Monterey, and now here's where I have to make sure that they are different architectures, right? Yeah. So the older one is Mac, and the newer one is Mac ARM because this is ARM64.
Yep.
And you can see it automatically put the right instance type down on there. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and just so I can get into it a little bit later. I'm going to put my key pair in there. I'm going to select my correct security group. So again, this is all sort of standard
stuff, right?
EC2 stuff. And I just want to show you down here. I'm going to go into the, I don't have to do this because I did set auto placement, but just to prove that I'm not actually, lying to you, right? I can actually, there's the host right there.
Select the host that
the exact host. So I can either say, select it by, auto placement, right? Or I can actually manually specify the exact host ID that I want.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and host ID. I'll just go ahead and even though I did put auto select on there, I will go ahead and just manually specify the host, and I will launch the instance.
All right.
And it's gonna get started. Now I know you challenged me, but I'm gonna do the Julia Child cooking show trick where these do take a few minutes to launch because these are bare metal instances, and
totally fair. We are getting close on time. So.
We are getting close on time, right? So I do want to make sure that you have a chance to see it. So I am gonna turn around and I'm gonna put the cake in the oven and then turn around and pull the fresh cake out of the oven. So I'm going to go ahead and just use this already running instance. I'm going to go ahead and grab the public IP4 address right here. I'm going to go over to my terminal. So this is, again, just sort of the bog standard terminal. And I'm going to go ahead and connect to it. As I'm connecting to it, you'll see that I'm going to do a quick port forward. And we'll come back to that a little bit later. So I'm going to use the same, I'm going to use the same key pair that I set up before, and I'm just going to paste in. I'm going to hold on. I'm going to see what's going on here.
And then maybe I can ask a question as you're doing it.
Sure.
So question in from Ricardo is, can you launch multiple instances on that dedicated bare metal host?
Great question, Ricardo. At this point, it is a one-to-one relationship because you are getting the full bare metal host. So you were getting the entire power of that Mac Mini. There's no, in a Linux or Windows, in a virtualized world, there would be a hypervisor that would be able to kind of split that up for you. With EC2 Mac, they are bare metal. So it is a one-to-one relationship of the instance to the host. Now that being said, and maybe I'm diving a little deeper here, we do have customers running a type 2 hypervisor on top of it, such as, VMware, Anka, Tart, things of that nature. Pick your favorite third-party type 2 hypervisor, and getting multiple virtual machines on top of the single bare metal instance, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So just zoom in. Sorry, Farah, can you just zoom in for that for a moment? We had a question from the audience, not a question, but a request from the audience of whether we could zoom in.
Apps, I can make it nice and big here.
All right.
I can see it. All right. So I just I SSH'd in. I did some port forwarding, which we'll come back to in a second. I put in my key pair file, which again, sort of standard EC2 stuff. EC2 user at an IP address, and you can see the MOTD tells me that I'm on an EC2 instance. And just again, so that you believe me, I'm actually running real Mac OS as EC2 user with like SIP enabled and things of that nature. And also, so that you believe me, I do want to win this challenge. I'm very competitive. We are actually running on a Mac Mini.
Okay.
Right. So, and so the reason we did that weird port forwarding in the SSH command is so that I can go in, and I'm just going to use the standard screen sharing app. Unfortunately, this one I can't make it any bigger. But what I did is I port forwarded the VNC, the built-in Apple Remote Desktop, to my system here. And if I just put in a username and password and I get it onto the right screen, you can see here this is a, if I can not fat finger the password, you can see this is the Mac Mini here, right? So this is the Mac Mini desktop.
This is in fact, I'm glad you logged in there, because I was going to say to you that, this could just be a screenshot.
Well,
you log in, so I know it's real.
There's the system preferences, right? And actually here, I think I can do you one better. If we go
not that
here,
I don't trust you or anything, but
if you look here at the serial numbers, right? Q6NY, Q6NY, like it's the same machine, and I can launch Safari, right? I can pull up the Apple web page, right? So it is a Mac, a real Mac. Yep, and this is an EBS backed volume running on EC2. So that's our new EC2 M1 Mac instances. We're really excited about them, and we'd love for anyone and everyone to go spin them up. They're generally available. They're in 4 regions, so Northern Virginia, Oregon, Ireland, and Singapore are the 4 regions we're in right now. Go allocate a host and launch an instance on top of it, and we'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback.
Yeah, this is awesome. I'm gonna go lunch one myself now, even though I'm sitting at one, and
we're getting insert Lisa dancing meme. So I imagine that people are excited and watching the live stream, like doing some sort of dance. Or like I can't remember what the dance is. I'm trying to remember it. But I keep getting.
I don't remember it. Yeah, this is cool.
Cool. How are we doing on time, y'all? I can talk about this all day. So
I well imagine that you can, sir. We are a couple of minutes over, so we should probably wrap up within the next minute or two. But let's start wrapping.
All right.
We haven't told anybody where they go to get started. So maybe where do people go to get started?
Perfect. So aws.amazon.com/Mac. That's our main landing page. We've got customer stories on there. We've got links to the documentation, links to getting started videos. Unfortunately, most of the videos feature me, so you're going to be stuck with even more me talking to you. But there's all kinds of great information on there. aws.amazon.com/Mac, MAC. And obviously, if you are an existing AWS customer, reach out to your AWS account team, say, I'm super interested in Mac. What can you tell me? And they will get you started.
They will tell you. Yes.
They will tell you.
They won't ignore you.
So.
Well, thank you so much, Scott, for coming along and showing us that. That was great.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,